Hey guys, what is up? My name is Landon and welcome to the Jersey Zone. So today I'm going to be talking about what I thought teams should have done for their reverse retro jerseys. Now I know the Hockey Guy released a video talking about a similar topic to this one, but I did have this idea before that video came out. I tried to do this video yesterday, but I actually tried to edit the jerseys into what I thought they should have been, but it ended up looking really bad because I'm not very artistic and I don't have Photoshop, so it was just very poor paint.net photoshopping and it looked really bad. So I ended up delaying this video a little bit and then that video came out. So I've not watched that video yet because I didn't want to get any ideas from him at all or anything like that. So hopefully this video isn't very close to what he released. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's just get right into it. Okay, so starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. Now I think the Anaheim Ducks did really well with their throwback jersey. I like it a lot. So I'm kind of stretching on what I think they could go back to. Now, if you really wanted to, you could just go back to their old home and away jerseys if you really wanted to. What I thought they could do is they could either go back to their Mighty Ducks of Anaheim jersey, which was their third jersey in 2003 to 2006. I like that jersey's kind of coloring a lot. I like the pattern and the striping of it a lot. I don't really like the logo itself, so you could either change that to the Mighty Duck logo, or if you really wanted to, you can just put the regular current Ducks logo on it. I think that would look okay. But another one I think would look good as well is their third or their fourth jersey from the 97-98 season. If you wanted to put that jersey into like an eggplant color or something along those lines, I think that would look pretty nice as well. Next, going on to Arizona, another team that I thought knocked it out of the park. I think they did a really good job with their throwback jerseys. But this is a jersey that I would also really like to see come back, the Running Yote. But either way, I really like that jersey a lot. I think it is super nice. They wore it as their third jersey from 2008 to 2014, and I think that logo looks really nice. Honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the nicest Arizona jerseys that doesn't look weird, because as much as I like the Kachina and the Peyote, I do think they're weird looking jerseys, and I think it's jerseys that you maybe have to get used to a little bit. With the Running Yote, I do think it's a lot more normal, but I think it's a nice looking jersey, and you could do it maybe in a reverse color if you really wanted to as well, or you could just keep it the same. Either way, I think it would have been a nice addition to throw back to, but like I said, I think Arizona did really good with their throwback anyways. Next up, on to Boston. Now, they were kind of a hard team to pick a throwback jersey to, mostly because of the fact that they've kind of done a throwback jersey to almost all of their other jerseys. The only one that they haven't done a throwback to is Pooh Bear, the one that's right up there that you can kind of see. Now, I actually do like the Pooh Bear jersey a lot. I think it is actually really nice. The logo is stupid, I will say that for sure. But honestly, if they wanted to replace that logo with their current logo, I actually think it's a nice looking jersey. I really actually like the striping on the jersey. It's definitely weird, but I do like it a lot. I like the Bruins on the shoulder patches as well. Overall, I wouldn't mind seeing a throwback to this jersey at some point. Like I said, you don't need to put the Pooh Bear on it. I think it's a stupid looking logo. But if you wanted to throw the regular Bruins logo on it, I think it would look fairly nice. Next up, we're on to Buffalo. Buffalo is another team that I thought did really well with their reverse retro jerseys, but there's two jerseys that I thought you can maybe do a throwback to. The one is the easy one, the one that everyone expected, the goat head. If you wanted to do a throwback to the goat head, I don't think anyone would complain at all. The goat head is a great jersey. It's fantastic. If you wanted to do that in the royal blue and white colors, I think it could look pretty nice. But another one that you could do that might get you a little bit of hate is the Buffalo Slug. Now, I don't think that they're ever going to go back to this logo. It's a stupid logo. I actually kind of don't mind the Buffalo Slug jerseys. Yeah, they're kind of stupid, but I kind of like them a little bit. So if they really felt risky, they could have gone back to the Buffalo Slug. But like I said, I think they did a great job with what they did anyways. Now we're on to Calgary. Now, once again, I think Calgary did a pretty good job with their throwback jerseys as well. I'm not loving what they did exactly with them, but I did like the direction they went in. Either way, what I think they could have gone back to is they could have gone back to what I think people call the pedestal jersey. I call it the German flag jersey because it kind of looks like a German flag a little bit. I don't really mind these jerseys, but they could have done something along those lines. Or if they really wanted to as well, they could have done a throwback to the Atlanta Flames. I think that would have been really nice as well. I love the Atlanta Flames jerseys. I think they're really nice. Now, I tried to limit how many teams went back to previous teams that had moved. I didn't want to do too many of those because of the fact that I know some people don't love when teams do that, but I think a lot of people wouldn't mind if the Flames did a throwback to the Atlanta Flames. I think it would be a fine jersey to go back to. Now we're on to Carolina. Carolina's kind of a hard team to throw back to because their jerseys have been quite similar for their entire existence, and they haven't had a super long existence either. That's probably why they did a throwback to the Hartford Whalers, because they don't really have a ton of different jersey history. It's been pretty close to the same for their entire thing. So what I just did is I just picked their inaugural season jersey, and I thought you could maybe try and put it in a black. I think a black jersey in Carolina might look pretty nice. I know a lot of teams have done black jerseys, so not everyone loves black jerseys, but I think if they wanted to do a reverse retro jersey without going back to Hartford, that's kind of what they would have to do. Next up, we're on to Chicago. Now, Chicago is a little hard to do as well because, at least for me, I don't like a lot of their older logos. I prefer their current logo right now. I think it's the best logo out there. So what I thought they could do is they could just take their Winter Classic from 2019 and just flip it and make it so it's mainly white and with black stripes, which is a jersey that they did used to have. I'm pretty sure that was their first jersey that they ever wore. So I think you could go back to this one as well. Next up is Colorado. Now, Colorado's another team that's kind of hard to do a throwback jersey to, because it's basically been the same jerseys for their entire existence. So without going back to the Quebec Nordiques, what I thought they could do is just do their wordmark jersey. That's the only kind of jersey that I could come up with. Every other jersey was basically the same, so that's the only one that I came up with. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but that's the only one that I could find. Next up, we're on to Columbus. Now, I like the logo that Columbus used for their retro throwback jerseys, but I didn't like really anything else. I wasn't a huge fan of that red jersey. So without going back to that jersey, without that logo, the only one that I could really come up with is their third jersey from 2003 to 2007. Those are the only kind of jerseys that I think you could do a throwback to. So this is the only one that I could kind of see them doing a throwback to. But either way, with the jersey that they did use, I really wanted them to use Stinger. So if you want to do another throwback with that logo and just have stingers on the side, I think that would be nice as well. Next, moving on to Dallas. Now, what I think Dallas should have done is done their home jersey from the 2003 to their 2006 era. And if you're like, Landon, that's exactly what they did. Yeah, well, I wanted them to do a better job of it because I really don't like what they did with it. It looks really, really bad. So I wanted them to do a proper job of this throwback jersey. I think if they did it correctly, it's really, really nice if they wanted to do that. Or if they really, really wanted to, they could do a throwback to the Moodorus. If they really wanted to, once again, that's another jersey I don't really think they would do a throwback jersey to. It's too weird. It's too wild. Even though I know the Anaheim Ducks did a Wild Wing throwback, I was very, very shocked at that, to be honest with you. But I don't think Dallas is ever going to do a throwback to the Moodorus. Now, if I really want to be serious, you could do a throwback to the 1993 or their inaugural season jerseys. If you do that jersey, it's kind of a throwback to the Minnesota North Stars because they did wear that jersey, I believe, in their final season as the Minnesota North Stars. So it's still a throwback to the Dallas Stars, but it's also a throwback to the Minnesota North Stars. So I think it kind of works as both. So if you really wanted to, they could have done a throwback to that. Now with Detroit, Detroit's kind of hard a little bit because they haven't changed their jersey history a lot in their time. So the only one that I thought they really could do a throwback to is their 2009 Winter Classic jersey. I do really, really like that jersey. If you really wanted to, you can do a throwback to most of their Winter Classic jerseys. I think their Winter Classic jerseys are pretty nice. Or if you wanted to as well, you could do a throwback to their 75th anniversary jerseys, the one that's kind of a barber pole. I probably don't think they would do that because those jerseys are really, really weird. But if they really wanted to, they could definitely use that as the throwback as well. Next up is Edmonton, another team that was kind of hard to find. The only one that I could really find that would be a kind of a cool throwback jersey is the oil drop. That's kind of it. That's the only jersey that I think would look nice as the throwback or would be different enough as a throwback. So that is a jersey that I think they could do a throwback to. I think it would be really nice. And then on to Florida. Now with Florida, they kind of did a throwback to the only jersey that I think they would do. You could put it into a red or a white like they used to have it. So it really wouldn't be a huge difference from the reverse retro jersey that they did. But the only other jersey that I really could think that they could do is do a throwback to that jersey right there, their third jersey. They wore that as a third from 2009 to 2012. So if you wanted to do a throwback to that jersey, I think a lot of people wouldn't mind. I personally really like that jersey a lot. I think it's super nice. But also they could just do a throwback to those older jerseys and maybe have the logo with the cat breaking the stick if they really wanted to. But that isn't a huge change from the reverse retros. Next up is the Kings, and that is a team that I think knocked it out of the park with their reverse retros. But honestly, they have a ton to choose from. If they wanted to do another reverse retro, or if they wanted to do something different with it, they could do a throwback to the Shield logo, which they used, I think, from 98 to 2002. They could do a throwback to their older jerseys that they wore in the 80s with the crown. I really like this crown, so they could have used this crown, or they could have used the newer crown that I think they used in like the mid-2000s. If they wanted to use that crown, they could have as well. Or if they really wanted to, they could have done a throwback to the Burger King jersey. I doubt they would have done that, but that would have been a lot of fun. That would have been really stupid. I believe they wore that in like 95 to 96, I believe. But either way, the Kings had a ton of options for their reverse retro jerseys, and they still knocked it out of the park. They still did a great job with them. Next up is Minnesota, and the only jersey that I think would have been a cool or a different throwback jersey that they could have done is their third jersey that they kind of turned into their home jersey a little bit later on. But the red one, I think they could do a throwback to that one if they really, really wanted to. Or if they really wanted to as well, they did have a third jersey in the mid-2000s that just had the Minnesota Wild as a word mark. If they wanted to do a throwback to that, they could as well. Now on to the Canadiens. The Canadiens is kind of a hard one to do a throwback to because Most of their jersey history is pretty much the same. The only jerseys you can really do a throwback to with the Canadians is any of the jerseys that they used in their 100th anniversary jersey, whether it's this one, the Greenleaf one, the Barber Pole one, any of those. They could have done a throwback to those ones, but they've kind of already done those semi-recently, so I kind of understand them not doing that. But honestly, if they really wanted to do like this jersey in a white or even in a red, I think it wouldn't be too bad. Next up is Nashville. Now, the only jersey that I think Nashville would have done a throwback jersey to, other than the one that they did with the reverse retro, is their third jersey that they wore in 2009. The checkerboard one, I think that would be a nice jersey to throw back to. I love that jersey's pattern. I love the checkerboard pattern. I think it's awesome. I love that jersey. If they really, really wanted to do something different, they could go back to the mustard cat. That would be kind of fun. But like I said, I don't think they would do that. It's a weird looking jersey, kind of like the Burger King. It's just too weird that I doubt they would do a throwback to it. But you never know. Okay, next up onto the Devils. Now, the Devils is kind of a hard one to do a throwback to because they've kind of done a throwback to all of their jersey history anyways. They haven't changed it a ton, and the ones that they had that were different were their kind of Christmas colored jerseys. So they've done throwbacks to basically both of those already. So the only one that I could really think of that would be kind of different is if they did a throwback to the Kansas City Scouts. If they really wanted to do a throwback to them, they kind of could. I don't think Kansas City is going to get a team again, so I don't think it would be a huge deal. I don't think anyone would be super mad about it, and it would be really, really different as well. So if they really wanted to, they could do a throwback to them. Next up, onto the Islanders. Now, their reverse retro jersey that they released was really, really boring, so I wish they did something different. But the only thing that you could really do a throwback to is the Fisherman jersey. Now, you don't have to use the Fisherman logo if you really wanted to. You could do a throwback to their Blue Wave jersey, I think is what people call it, which is basically the same pattern as the Fisherman jersey, but with just their regular Islanders logo on it. I think that would be a fine jersey to do a throwback to, honestly. I don't think people would be upset if they didn't have the Fisherman logo on the front. Well, some people would be upset if they didn't have the Fisherman logo on the front, but I think it would be a lot more understanding if they didn't do the Fisherman logo on the front and they just did the same pattern as the Fisherman jersey with their regular Islanders logo on the front. Either way, I just wish they did something different for their reverse retro. Next up onto the Rangers. The Rangers did a fine job with their reverse retro. They picked the right logo, I think, in my opinion. I love that logo. I don't love the design that they went for, but anyways, I think the only other jersey they could really do a throwback to is their Shield logo that they wore, I think it was in 76 to 78. I actually really, really like this logo, and I really like these jerseys. I actually really wish they did a throwback jersey to these jerseys because I really like the crest logo. I think it looks a lot nicer than just Rangers down the side. I don't love the Rangers word mark. I know it's very iconic, it's very Rangers, it's very classic. I get all of that, but honestly, I prefer logos. I don't like word marks, even if it has to do with the Rangers. Not a huge fan of it, so I wish that they just used the crest logo or the Shield logo, whatever you want to call it. I think if they did a throwback to that, it would look really nice. Now on to Ottawa. Now Ottawa's kind of hard because they've already done a throwback with going back to their older logo with their home and away jerseys. So they've kind of done a throwback jersey to their older ones already. The only other throwback that you could really do is the logo with the Scooby-Doo eyes if you really wanted to. I know that is a very strange logo and it's a very weird logo. You can pick either design, either this one here or this one here. You can pick either of the two. Or if you really wanted to, you can throw these designs just with the new home logo on it or the new old home logo, whatever you want to say. But if you wanted to put that maybe on these designs, I think that could look okay. But either way, that's the only other kind of throwback that they could do. Next up onto Philly. Now there's two jerseys that I would like to see a throwback to with Philadelphia. Their third jersey that I think they used from 2002 to 2007. It kind of has a weird logo. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it's a neat looking jersey. It's a very different looking jersey. At least the logo itself is very different. So I like to see a throwback to that because I think that is pretty neat. Or also if you really wanted to as well, it's not really much of a throwback because they did only use it 8 years ago, but their 2012 Winter Classic jersey, I personally love that jersey. It's my favorite Philadelphia jersey out there. I really, really like it, so I think they could do a throwback to that one eventually as well. Next up onto Pittsburgh. I didn't really love what Pittsburgh did with their throwback jerseys, so there's two kind of things that I think they could do. If they really wanted to do something different, they could do a throwback to their 70s jerseys. I think they wore these from like 77 to 80, I'm pretty sure, something like that. But these jerseys here, the blue, I absolutely love these jerseys. I think they look really, really nice. Or if you wanted to play it a little bit more safe, you could have gone back to the RoboPen. I think teams would have been fine if you went back to the RoboPen. I don't think anyone would be upset about it, so they could have done that as well. Next up onto St. Louis. Now, the only thing that I would like to see a throwback jersey to with St. Louis is their kind of arch logo. That's the only one that I really like with St. Louis that I think would look nice in an Adidas as a reverse retro that they haven't already done. I would really like to see the arch jersey, but it is kind of a weird thing to call it a reverse retro when I think they stopped using it in like 2016, so it's kind of hard to say it's a retro jersey when they literally stopped wearing it 4 years ago. Or if you really wanted to as well, you could do a throwback to their 70s jerseys as well. These jerseys are fairly nice. I actually like them a decent amount. So if they really wanted to, they could do a throwback to those jerseys as well. Next up, onto the Sharks. Now, I really like Sharks jerseys in black. I know they already have a third black jersey, so they probably wouldn't do another black jersey on top of it. But I wouldn't have mind if they did a reverse retro of this jersey here. I believe they wore it from 2001 to 2007. I really like this jersey a lot. I think it's really nice. It's the only other one that I think they could have done a reverse retro to, and it would have been all right. Next up, onto Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay did a fantastic job with the reverse retro, but the one I think everyone, or at least a lot of fans, would have liked to see, I would have loved to see it, is the Storm jersey. I would have loved it if they did a reverse retro of that. I think it would have looked ugly, it would have looked stupid, and I would have been there for it. I would have 100% bought it if they did a throwback to that jersey, because that jersey is awesome. I love it. But once again, it's another ugly jersey that I kind of doubt they'll ever go back to. Next up, onto Toronto. Now, Toronto did an awful job with the reverse throwback jerseys. I really don't like Toronto's reverse throwback jerseys. So there's a few things that I think they could have done. They could have stayed the same with that reverse retro jersey. I don't really love the gray that's on the shoulders and the striping. If they changed the one big stripe at the bottom to maybe two stripes, I think I would have liked that better. And then just change the logo in the middle, either to a different logo, like maybe the one that they used for their 75th anniversary jersey. That one I wouldn't have mind. Or if they just wanted to change it to their current logo, they could do that as well. But either way, I think they just needed to change that logo and make that big stripe at the bottom into maybe two stripes, or maybe just make it a little bit thinner. Or like I said, if they wanted to do a full throwback to that 75th anniversary jersey, they could do that as well. Or if they really wanted to do something different, they could have done a throwback to their St. Pat's jerseys, the ones that they wore in 2002. I think that would have been decent to do a throwback to as well, but they probably wouldn't want to do that because they already do have a St. Pat's jersey. But either way, they could have done pretty much anything else, and I think it would have looked a lot better than what they did. Next up, onto Vancouver. I think Vancouver did a great job with their jerseys as well for their reverse throwback. With Vancouver's 50th anniversary that came up this year, they kind of already did a couple of throwbacks to their older jerseys that I think I would have liked to see. Like the black skate jersey, I think I would have liked to see beforehand, and they did that perfectly. Or the stick and rink jersey, they already did those two. So the only ones that I could really pick out is their third jersey from 95 to 96. That would be an interesting one to do because it's a little bit different than just the regular skate jersey. It's got that weird kind of dash along in the middle there. I think that would be an interesting one to do a throwback to. Or if they really wanted to get crazy, they could do a throwback to the Flying V. Now, they did have an Adidas practice jersey with the Flying V. I wish they did a retail version of that jersey, because I definitely would have bought it if they did that. But either way, these are the only two that I could really find if Vancouver wanted to do another throwback jersey. Next up, onto the Capitals. Now, the Capitals, I didn't love exactly what they did with that Screaming Eagle jersey, but I really liked that they went back to the Screaming Eagle logo. I love that logo. The only other jersey that I think they could have done a throwback to is the Capitol Building logo. I think that would have been a nice jersey to do a throwback to. As long as they didn't do it in red, I think it would have been fine. And finally, on to the Jets. Now, the only other thing the Jets could really do is just do a throwback to that old logo. They have a logo that looks pretty similar to that older logo, but it's not quite the same as the older logo. So if they just put that older logo on the front of a jersey and they just did it basically in the same colors that they have now, I think it would look fine. Or if they really wanted to, is put it into the colors that they used in their 2016 Winter Classic or their Heritage Classic jersey as well. If they wanted to throw those colors with the older logo, I think that would look nice as well. But other than that, I don't really think the Jets could do really anything else. But anyways, that's what I think the teams could have gone back to with their reverse retros. Let me know what you guys think they should have gone back to with their reverse retros in the comments. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe for more jersey content. Also, make sure to follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at the Jersey Zone YT on Instagram and at the Jersey Zone on Twitter. Links are in the description down below. But yeah, like I said, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.